So tell us about your tapping. How did that get started?
When I first started taking dance, I only took hip hop and tap. You know, I was a boy and I didn't want to take a bunch of other stuff, and it was just like an easy way for me to get into it. And so as I started doing hip hop and tap, I realized how much I really liked it, and specifically tap because I love like being rhythmic and all these different things. So I ended up just really sticking with tap the most. I ended up training all different styles, but tap stuck out to me the most, and I took it the most seriously. And yeah, I mean, I loved making noise. I loved that it was like the only dance style that involved, you know, making noise as well as the movement. So I thought that was really, really cool. And I had a really, really great teacher. And I looked up to people like Sammy Davis Jr. and then Gregory Hines and Savion Glover. And I would see all the stuff that they can do. And I was like, oh, okay. So I started taking it a lot more seriously.
Well, it's very cool seeing that you are a tapper and you're doing all these other dances, and it's amazing that you're just like a chameleon, as they say. You can just merge into any dance style, and you do great at it.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate with with that. I love learning new things, and I try to be like a sponge anytime I'm like in a rehearsal place or like anything with any of the people, whether it's the assistants or the choreographers or whatever, and I just try to mimic the things that they're doing and their styles of movement and all that stuff. And I love to emote, and I didn't want to be, typecasted as just a tap dancer either. So having the opportunity to do other styles, to me, I'm seeing it to be, having more of a positive impact than me just tapping. So I really think it's great that I haven't really had an opportunity to tap yet.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have a favorite dance routine that you've done so far on the show?
Yeah, I would say I really loved The Giving Tree because my mom used to read me that book all the time. So I thought that was like such a cool way, and it was so different than all the other contemporaries that I'd seen on the show. So I really, really liked that one. And then after that week, we did the hip hop one, the Gold Rush, the Wild Wild West one.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
And that's like the most fun, that I had doing a dance. But this past week with the All Star, though, was really changed a lot for me as far as what I felt like I learned and my progression on the show so far. So that one would have probably been the most influential to me so far what I've done, because I just, I thought I had such a good run with Jasmine, and then this was an obvious like next step up in the whole process of being on the show. So it's really exciting and really fun.
Yeah, you and Jasmine are both like powerhouses. You're strong dancers, very strong dancers.
Yeah, I love Jasmine. I can't speak highly enough about her. I mean, our partnership was like so blessed to be like together, like me and her, like working together the way that we worked. And I just don't think I would have made it this far without her. And I know that she feels the same way, that the way our partnership worked really benefited us throughout this whole concert. Like I just really couldn't have had a better partner. I mean, I'm like her #1 fan. She's like so crazy good at everything that she does.
Yes.
So,
And how did you like working with Catherine McCormick?
oh, that was amazing. I mean, I can't even speak highly enough about Catherine or Stacey. Catherine's just, in my opinion, she's like the best performer that's ever come from So You Think You Can Dance. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's why she continues to be asked back as an all-star. And I mean, her acting ability is what separates her from other dancers, because she can make these situations and her environment like very real. Like everything that we were doing was very, very real. And I've only really been commended on my performance as well, because I don't necessarily have like the instrument of a contemporary dancer or anything like that. So I just try to oversell it with my performance, and that was where we really connected. And she has so many like pointers and tips and ways to make this dance real, and the things that we would do. And she's just like the nicest person I feel like I've met, like through and through. I mean, the most encouraging, optimistic. She was just so nice, like all the time. Like there's like she never said a bad thing. I don't think she can say a bad thing to anyone ever. She's like literally the sweetest lady I've ever met, and the amount of trust that her and Stacey had in me to do such a personal and intimate piece was like very flattering. I feel like they both like trusted me full-heartedly that I was going to be able to do this and do it the way that they wanted it to be done. And that's not very tough to do when you're just meeting someone.
Exactly, and it's very awesome to see the dancers that do come from the show and how they end up, and like you said, they're just so talented, and just working with them, I'm sure, is even like amazing.
Yeah, the one-on-one type of experiences that you get you couldn't even like pay for them. I don't feel like I don't think you could get Stacy in a room by herself
No, no.
trying to help you grow, or Catherine, you know, by yourself trying to make you a better dancer, a better actor, better, you know, whatever the case may be. You just can't even get that. So just so lucky.
Is there any other all-star that you really want to dance with in particular as well? Anyone?
I really want to work with Twitch. I've always looked up to him so much, you know, as far as his process on the show was very similar. You know, he was a hip-hop dancer, you know, kind of like a street dancer. He was kind of counted out, and he made it so far. You know, he made it all the way to the finale, and I mean, more importantly, since then, he's like, you know, probably the most recognizable name from the show. You know, his whole growth of his career, even after the show, you know, supersedes the majority of the contestants. And most importantly, you got to see him grow as a dancer, then you got to see his career grow, and then you got to see him grow as a man. Like, you know, now he's like engaged to Allison, and he's got, you know, the kid and everything like that, and like the type of human that he is now. Like, you got to like watch that. Like, if you go back and look at season 4 to looking at him now,
yes,
and sharing stage with him, and he's like so nice and supportive too. I mean, he got all the top 20 dinner. Like, he rented out this place where we could all go and eat with them, with him and Allison. And just like, you know, he just wanted people to be together, and he's just, you know, I just always feel lucky, like when I'm around and when I'm hanging out with him and stuff, like when we were like rehearsing, you know, the past week, and I would just love to be able to just dance with him, share the stage with him, because his energy is like out of control.
Wow, that's great. And then also, what's a couple like behind the scenes stuff that goes on, like your rehearsals and like show day? What goes down?
I mean, rehearsals, they split it up. You know, the first day you have, that's like on camera day. So you'll have 3 hours. Half of it will be like learning it, and the other half will be making sure that they have all the right camera shots. So that's kind of like a difficult thing to manage, going back and forth between actually trying to pick up the dance, and at the same time you have to like stop and then let the camera people like set up. And so that's kind of like a difficult portion. But then the next day you have like 5 hours straight, no camera, no nothing. So you can just really like try to get the dance down the best that you can. And then I'd say show days. I mean, show days are like the longest days that you'll ever live. We're all up at 4:45 in the morning. We get picked up at 5:15. We get there, you know, we go right to hair and makeup, and we're recording the opening number by 7:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, you're exhausted. I mean, by the time you finish that at 7:30, it's almost like that was yesterday. Then you have to re-get ready. And then a lot of people wouldn't like realize how much time goes into like prior. Like, we run the show like 4 times before you see it.
Really? Oh, see, we didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like rehearsals, and then camera rehearsals, and then dress rehearsal, and then the actual show. So you're pretty tired. I mean, there'd be no way that you'd be able to get to the show if it wasn't for the adrenaline and the crowd being there, which only is the only thing that separates it from, you know, all the other runs that you've had. So I didn't know that. I did not expect that after watching the show, that there was so much to do on Tuesday.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty hard to imagine.
Well, what do you guys do to like keep the energy going, and like do you eat certain foods, healthy foods, drinks, anything?
I mean, yeah, there's food and drinks everywhere, I'd say. Like, there's always snacks that you can get and everything like that. I mean, of course, they feed us breakfast, and there'll be like lunch menu and all the stuff that we all eat. I mean, keeping energy up is tough because we're all separated, because we all have different tech times to be on stage, which means that we all are in hair at different times, and we're all in makeup at different times. So, I mean, it's kind of tough. I mean, the best thing that everybody does is trying to just stay warm. Like, you know, you'll go into, you know, a different room, and there'll be people stretching or people like running around, like trying to warm up when it's their turn to start going and getting ready. We really don't ever have a chance to come together after the group number, which we're all together, and then after that, I would say before dress rehearsal, because we're all like back in the green room getting ready to go out there at the same time that we're, you know, we do chants, and like, you know, we always huddle up and we like say what we're thankful for, and, you know, kind of like say a prayer, like we'll all come together, and because, you know, that'll be the last time that 2 more people will be with us. That'll be the last time that top 10 will be together. It'll be the last time top 8 will be together. So we always do that, and that's cool, but it is really tough to keep energy up all day. It really is.
I'm sure. And then on top of that, like you said, the routines you have to learn, and it's like, I don't know how you guys even pick it up and remember it. So many dances, and I don't know how you remember it.
It's not easy, especially when you have more numbers. It just, I don't know. You're so worried about the dances. I feel like all throughout the week that like that's all that you like live and breathe. Like you're always like listening to your song, and I mean the biggest help has been like taping it. Like before you leave rehearsal, you like videotape it on your own phone or whatever. And I mean that's a lifesaver. I mean you just watch that over and over and over and practice anytime you can. We always practice in our apartments, like all the time.
Wow.
We're always in our apartments, like every chance that we get, and yeah, I always thought that too when we were learning more numbers. Like when we were all doing 3 numbers a few weeks ago, I was like, man, it's really tough. I don't know whether we're getting all the time to do all this, because once you learn your duet, you leave your duet alone for 2 days before you even come back to it.
Wow.
So then you just work on group numbers. So you're doing group number for 2 days straight. You never even get a chance to look at your duet unless you can like come home, and if you're not already exhausted, then you can try and rehearse and practice it. But I don't know how. I mean, at this point in the game, I feel like all of us are like trained. Like our bodies are like getting trained to the point, and our minds are getting trained to the point that we're like picking up the choreography fast and having to retain it because there isn't enough time.
Right. Do you get nervous when you go on stage and perform at all, or?
Yeah, I haven't got nervous in a really long time until I was doing the show. I never mind going out and performing on a stage like for an audience and all that stuff, but the idea of the viewers and the idea of it being live, I definitely think takes it up. I'm always nervous. Yeah, I'm always nervous before a show because you always feel like you haven't had enough time on the stage. You haven't had enough chances to run it. Especially with the All-Stars, you know, you're not with the All-Stars all day long like you are your cast.
Right.
The cast was always to rehearse because we're always next to each other. The All-Stars, it's not. They're only there the hours that it says that they're there. They're not like in the apartment complex. So you definitely get nervous. I definitely get nervous before shows. When you finally hear the crowd load in and they're all, you know, getting warmed up and screaming and yelling, and yeah, you get a little nervous. And I definitely get nervous when that package is playing, when they're playing your package right before you're about to do the dance. It's It's a pretty nerve-wracking experience.
Do you look at the audience, or do you look at the judges, or where do you focus?
It all depends on the style of dance. Like for the hip-hop one, yeah, I mean, I was carrying out the audience the majority of the time, you know, connecting with them. But whereas the dance with Catherine, I didn't see the audience at all, not one time. You know, I was just looking at her, and it all depends on, you know, what it is that they want. You know, sometimes with Nappy Tap's choreography, they'll have camera passes where they want you to look into the camera. In the tap number that we did the first week, there was a specific part where we were dancing towards the judges, you know, having our face towards the judges. It really all depends on the style of dance and what it is that you're trying to portray. So I'll try to do all of them. Connect with the audience, making sure that they're having a good time. Definitely connect with the judges because they're the ones who are judging you. And at any chance that you get connecting with your partner to show that you guys can work well together and the chemistry is real.
Yes. Absolutely. For the judges, looking at them, though, do you get nervous what they're going to say? Because they are judging you, and, you know, you might think you've done fabulously, and then when Nigel says another thing, you're like, you know what I mean? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's ballroom. When it's ballroom, which I'm not trained in at all, and Mary's very, very trained in, you know that she can see and pick out, you know, the nuances and things that are incorrect or wrong, and whatever the case may be, you know, she's really good at that, so... that is a nerve-wracking experience when it is their specialty, you know. So that does make it tough, but you don't want to be, you know, swayed or moved by them watching you because that'll take you out of your performance, and they'll pick up on that before they'll pick up on anything else. Yes. So you don't want to, you know, remain a whole at least until you're done with the dance, and then if you are nervous about it or whatever about looking at them, you can show it then, but while you're performing, yeah, I definitely try not to. Yeah.
Do you have like a dream routine you'd like to do with anyone if you could pick? Which person would you pick, and then what type of dance style would you like to do?
I mean, I would definitely, like I said, I would like to do a hip-hop with Twitch. I think that would be really cool. I would love for them to bring back tap. You know, if they wanted to bring back one of the tappers, like, you know, any of them, you know, to do tap again on the show would be very cool. I wanted to work with Allison too, contemporary, but it's kind of hard to compare after working with Catherine contemporary. She you know, she's got it on lock, in my opinion. I definitely think Melanie Moore. She's a powerhouse. You know, if I was to do like jazz or something with her, like she's so solid. That I would have loved to, and I would have loved to have had more opportunities to dance with other of my castmates too.
Yeah,
you know, I'm such a fan of all of those girls, or and guys. I got to dance with a lot of the guys, but the girls particularly, I would have loved to have more opportunities to dance with them because they were all spectacular in their own sense.
Yes, I know this whole season, all of you guys are like such amazing dancers. It's like when someone gets out, they're all good dancers. You don't want anyone to get out.
Yeah, it's getting so much harder, so much more difficult now in the top 10. I mean, at the top, at this point, whenever anyone leaves, it just almost feels like they were cheated because they were all so good.
Yes,
it's like
exactly.
it's at a loss for everyone at this point. I mean, but everybody's gonna get voted off, but two. So
yeah,
everybody has to get ready. Everybody has to get ready to leave, and it's nothing personal. It's just the way that it is.
Just narrowing it down. How do you feel being at the top 8 at this point, that you're so close to like being to that top 2? How does that feel?
I mean, it's crazy. I really try not to think about it because, I mean, I wasn't even supposed to be here in the first place. So it's great that I was even invited to the top 20, and then no tappers ever made it to top 10. So that was so huge in itself. And then I've already went home, so I am always really prepared to leave. Because I already went home. I know what it feels like, so that's, I feel like I'm ahead of the game in that sense. But yeah, I mean, top 8 is huge, and you're right. I mean, that is only 8 to 6, 6 to 4. It is only 2 more episodes before you have your final 4, which is the finale. And that is a short amount of time. But I mean, in those 2 weeks, I can't even tell you the amount of possibilities that could happen. So I try not to think about it in that sense, and I just like to take it a week at a time. I got to do my best this week and hope that I can be there for next week.
Exactly.
And I'm so lucky. I've been so lucky. I've had a really good run, and like I said, I had really good partners. Like, I firmly believe in that. I definitely don't think that it was just me and what it is that we did. It was the commitment to the things that we did. I mean, we had good numbers, and we stayed committed through and through. All numbers that could have, there was numbers that we've done that could have went either way. Broadway. Right. You didn't know how that was to turn out. It's like, oh. How are we going to make this read? But me and Jasmine were like so overly committed to the story that it ended up looking so good. And then Quickstep, I mean, we're not good at Quickstep. I mean, me and Jasmine know that we're not good at standard ballroom at all. We knew that from the whole time, and we knew that we weren't going to be technically good. But we were so committed to making sure that people who were watching us were watching our face and not watching our feet and having a good time. That, again, positive feedback. So I've been really, really fortunate, and so I definitely think that all of those things combined have gotten me to this point, and I like to thank all those people that helped me out, because I definitely wouldn't have been here.
Definitely, like you said, that commitment and passion. Just America loves seeing that too, and that you guys are having fun too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being on stage is fun. Being on that stage is fun. You can't deny that at all. So, we just go out there and we just always try to make it believable. Really, that's always the main goal. The ballroom, we wanted to make people believe we were ballroom dancers. With me and Catherine, we wanted to make people believe that we were in love. We wanted to make everything real as possible on stage, and just gotta keep doing that. Really, I'm not going to change the equation that I've been working with so far. So
yes, well, us watching it at home, we believe it.
Yeah, it's working.
So you also do some DJing in Vegas. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Living in Las Vegas, there's tons of nightlife opportunities. There's like constant work and all that stuff, and I'm always surrounded by music. Me and my father, we have a digital recording studio, so like we make music and we record music, and he sings and I write and I can sing and I rap, and any opportunity, anything else surrounded by music. And I was working on a project. It was like a mixtape that I was doing for me, where I was making these songs for me, and I needed a DJ to help me mix like songs together. So I met up with my friend, and he started teaching me, and we started going back and forth with these ideas, and we came up with a group, and we decided we were going to DJ together. It kind of started off as a joke. We called like ourselves the Bomb Makers, and we like wanted to like play different places and all stuff just to like let people have a good time. But as soon as like we started and we actually like did our first few gigs, it like really like took off, and people started believing in us, and then we started taking it more seriously, and then before we knew it, we were like playing in nightclubs in Las Vegas and all this stuff. And I mean, it's a great way to make money, and it's a great way to be surrounded by things that you love. And if you make music or record music and then have an opportunity to play music to a crowd of people that are coming in, from different places, it's a great medium. I mean, I really couldn't have shows anything better than that. So, like, my life is always surrounded by music, and I love it.
Wow. Do you have any favorite DJs you like listening to?
Oh, of course. I have tons of favorite DJs that I got a lot of chances to like either open up for or meet or see him and all stuff. Like Laid Back Luke, he's one of my favorites. I got to meet him. Diplo, he's one of my favorites. I got to meet him. And then you have so many that are like really, really good, like big names. I mean, they're big too, but Chucky and Tiesto and all those guys are amazing. And then there's so many people too that a lot of people don't know that just make really, really good music. And I'm a huge fan of all them. I mean, I listen to music all the time. I'm like obsessed. I mean, it was part of my job, so I constantly have to be listening to new music and finding new music and all this stuff. So I really do have a wide range of respect for a lot of people, but those are the ones who stand out for me.
Yes. Well, luckily, I think that music ties in with the dancing because music makes you dance. So you kind of, you know what I mean? It's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, having a better understanding of music too helps.
Yeah. I have a couple get-to-know-you questions. So the first question we have for you is, who's your current celebrity crush?
That's a good one. I mean, it's like always been Jessica Alba from when I was like 12. I could like easily go with that one again. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Jessica Alba. I mean, she's still the one for me.
Now, if you saw her, would you get nervous or?
Yes, I would for sure.
You
definitely would. Yeah.
And now, like, say Jessica Alba was at So You Think You Can Dance on the judges panel there. What would you do? Like,
I would have to express my love for her. I would be forced to. When they put my number up to call me, I would have to beg for her to call me. It would be so necessary. I'd have to dedicate the dance to her.
Okay, this is great. We have to see this happen, though. I mean, do you want to talk to Nigel about it? Could this happen?
I would love to. I would love to. It'd be way too much fun. I would make a fool of myself for sure.
I think all of America would love to see that, though. Like, what would happen?
It would be so serious. I would really trust my love. I'd really try.
This is great. And then also, do you have a favorite TV show you like watching, or?
Yeah, I mean, I got a few. I always try to stay up to date. Like Dexter's on right now. Like it just came back on, so I'm always trying to stay up to date on that one. Breaking Bad just started again, so I'm trying to stay up to date on that one. And then what else I watch? I mean, Game of Thrones. You know, I watch a lot of those series that are on like Showtime and HBO because they're all so good.
Yeah.
And then I also love like the cartoons, like Family Guy. Like I love Family Guy. So I'll always end up watching those as well. But I love to stay up to date on the series, or when we have downtime or whatever, like starting a new one. Like I always love doing that. That's how I started watching Game of Thrones and Dexter and Breaking Bad and all those. So yeah, I'm obsessed with those ones.
When you were younger, did you watch the '90s shows like Nickelodeon when they had like Rugrats and all those cartoons? Did you watch all that stuff?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I feel like a lot of because I'm 25, I'm the oldest, I'm like 7 years older than the majority of the contestants. I feel like they don't even know a lot of those, like Rugrats and Doug and all that, and all those like Nickelodeon shows that were so cool back in the day. Like, oh my gosh, I loved all those shows.
Yes, I know, that was like our childhood, all of those shows. I'm so glad they play them now.
I know, barely. Like all the stuff I used to watch when I was a kid, they play on like Nick at Night now.
Yes. Like
Prince of Bel-Air and all that stuff. I'm like, man, I can't believe this is on Nick at Night. Like, this used to be like prime time when I was a kid now, so like Nick at Night, it's like funny to me. Good Burger, man.
Yes. Good Burger was the best. Good movies. I wish they still made stuff like that, though. I don't know. It just seems like they don't make stuff like that.
They don't. They make like different stuff now. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, I've never even watched Nickelodeon since, but I know it's so different than what it was we used to watch.
Yes. I know, I miss it. And then also, do you have a favorite fast food restaurant that you like eating at?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, I hadn't been, in Las Vegas they don't have Chick-fil-A. In California they do, and I like never had it, and I tried it, and I was like blown away by it. It's delicious. Prior to that, though, when I moved to New Orleans, they had a place called Cane's, and then they moved Cane's after the hurricane back to Las Vegas, like where I was living too, and I was like, oh yeah, so like I love Cane's. And then that was both like chicken places. But for burgers, I love In-N-Out. They have them in Vegas, they have them here. I think they're good. You can't go wrong. I try not to eat like fast food. I try not to eat fast food in general. That's not necessarily the best power food for the show, but when I do, it's probably going to be In-N-Out for a burger or Chick-fil-A if I want some chicken or like Cane's or something. So Canes is just out of control. It's just delicious. Can't go wrong.
They need to put Canes like in every location, just all around.
Absolutely. It would do well anywhere.
It would.
So.
Hopefully they do that. And like you said, Chick-fil-A is great too. In-N-Out. Good choices. Good choices.
Delicious. All of them.
And when you're in Vegas, you kind of like going to the hotels, and how do you like living in Vegas? You like it?
I do like living in Vegas. As a local, you know, you try to avoid the Strip at all costs. Really, that's like the rule. So I will go to the hotels. I will go to the casinos if I'm playing there, like if we're spinning there, if we're going to DJ there, then yeah.
Yes.
Then it's always a good time to go. Well, if you're going to go see someone that you're like really excited to see, then yeah. But a majority of the time, you want to try to stay off Las Vegas Boulevard at all costs. But I do like living there. I mean, it's a unique city that never sleeps. Amazing nightlife. You know, it's very imitative in culture. Like, it tries to imitate every culture. Like, it's all very fake when it tries to imitate all the cultures. So you get a piece of everything. You know, it's like a big museum. You know, kind of like a big wax museum.
Yes.
So it's really cool. I mean, to me. So I've always enjoyed it. And I only lived there, and I lived in New Orleans, and both of them are so unique cities. New Orleans never sleeps. It's filled with culture, real culture, you know, from French colonialism and all these things. And then it has casinos, and it has a good nightlife, and it has bourbon, which is, you know, comparison to Las Vegas Boulevard and, you know, the Strip. So I really do love and respect both of those places a lot. And I have really thoroughly enjoyed living in California too, getting the opportunity to, like, you know, enjoy the weather and the streets and everything like that. It's really nice here too. But Vegas will always be my home.
Yes, definitely. Do you have a favorite place that you'd like to travel or that you've been?
Yeah, I mean, the tour's going to Canada. I've never been to Canada, so I think that would be really cool. But I've always wanted to go to Europe. I've never been overseas. I've only been to, like, you know, Central America and Mexico and a few other places, but I've never been overseas. Like, I really want to go to Europe. I'd love to check out, like, Rome and all the things that, like, used to interest me back when I was in high school. Like, I used to love, like, reading about gladiators and, like, all this, like, stuff. And architecture. And a lot of the architecture in New Orleans is very representative of some of the architecture that, you know, is going on in Europe, because they all came over from France and they colonizing America. So there is, like, a lot of, like, things that are, like, you know, reverting back that I'd love to see. I really want to go to Europe so bad.
Yeah, definitely. And then you mentioned the tour as well. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you think everyone can expect off the tour?
I don't know too much. We don't know too much. We know that there's 42 dates, and like, there's not a lot of time. Like, I was looking at it, it's like pretty much every day. There's like a show every single day, and it's all on a bus. So we're gonna be like driving, you know, through every night to get to the next place. So I imagine it's gonna be like very busy, and I'd say probably hard work. I mean, a show a night like that, it's got to be similar to the amount of rehearsals and stuff that we do. You know, maybe even more. So I really don't know, but I am excited to travel to all the places. Yeah, it pretty much hits almost every state, so that's, like, really cool. And again, going to Canada, I think is going to be really cool. And I mean, just the opportunity to give back to fans, like people who've been supporting, like me, and people who are supporting us this whole entire time, voting for us, and, you know, writing us fan mail, and, you know, trying to get in contact with us, letting us know how, you know, good of a job that we've done. And then to them, it's like a really big deal, but they don't realize that for us, it's a big deal too. Like, going to their city and then have an opportunity to dance for them face to face is also really, really special to me. So I am really excited about that. And like I said, I'm the only tapper who's ever going to be on tour. So that, to me, is huge. Like, to represent tap, this time, to me, that's, like, really, really dope. So
that's so awesome. And speaking of fans and everything, everyone keeps in touch with you guys on Twitter and Instagram. How do you like using both of those?
I like it a lot. I mean, I had Twitter before, but I was, like, terrible at it, and, like, I didn't really even know what to do and all this stuff. But Instagram, I've always loved. I always think it's fun. But now, I mean, just, it's crazy the amount of like, reach that we have and growth that we have, and it's really great to see how we affect people and stuff like that. Like, I've received videos of, like, kids, like little kids, like babies almost, dancing, like trying to dance, like the dances that we've done on TV and all that stuff. Like, and that is so cool to see. Like, it's some little kid's birthday today, and I'll just he wanted a picture of me, and he, like, sent me the picture, and I'm like, that's, like, so weird to imagine. It's just, like, so cool to know how we've personally affected these people. And when you write on Twitter now, like, everybody wants to respond. You can have, like, these like, I always try to respond to all my fans on Twitter. I always try to, like, have conversations with them, because, and when I respond, they reply like, "Oh my gosh, and this makes me feel so special." And I'm like, what you guys don't understand is that when you write us, it makes us feel special. Because before this, we were nobodies. We were just sitting on our couch, dancing, doing whatever, and we were no one. But now that we've done the show, to them, we're something different. But it's still settling for both of us. We're like still trying to understand it on each side.
Yes.
So it's really cool.
So now on show days, does your phone blow up with tweets like right after show days?
Oh yeah, it's overwhelming on show days. There's nothing that you can do. I mean, from text messages, of people that I know, people that I've known, my life, and then Facebook messages, and then tweets and everything. Yeah, the notifications can easily be into like past 200s, like easy, like overwhelming. I feel bad on show days because I can't reply to everyone because I can't see everything that is happening. It's throughout the week that I really try, but. Yeah, it is. It's very overwhelming on show days. Very overwhelming.
Well, luckily nowadays there is Twitter and stuff like that because back when we used to watch So You Think You Dance, there wasn't anything online that, you know what I mean? You couldn't talk to the dancers. You couldn't see what they were doing. So it's a whole different world. Yeah,
it really is. It's an inside look to everything that we're doing. And like I said, I always try to make sure that I interact with them and any chance that I get because I'm just like them. I'm not any different. I really am not at all. I think it's so funny.
Well, yeah, we were discussing with the other dancers, we want like a behind-the-scenes kind of preview of you guys, like a show of itself. You know what I mean? What happens behind the scenes, not just the dancing. We want to know more about you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we're a funny bunch, and we're a loving group, and we're very, very supportive of one another. And I think that's what makes us different than a lot of the other seasons is really how close that we are, and we're particularly supportive, and we really are supportive of one another. That would be a really interesting show to see the way that we all interact and stuff that we do. There isn't a lot of free time, so you would see a lot of what you already see, which is a lot of rehearsals. But sometimes like we cook for each other. Sometimes we all go out to eat together. Sometimes we dance for one another. Like we'll share a space, like we'll just rent a room, and we all do our dances for one another, and that's really when we're super supportive, and we're really always trying to help one another, and we take time. If I have ballroom, the ballroom dancers will help me. If they have hip hop and they want help, like I'll go and help them, and things of that nature. It's really cool. And then we're all really funny too. We're all funny. We all have different distinct personalities that at this point we've really learned how to mold and be around one another all at the same time with our personalities, and it's really a good time. I mean, I have no complaints here, hanging out with everyone.
Well, that's awesome. Hopefully, one of you guys does like a YouTube behind the scenes, maybe something. Maybe one of you guys will film on tour.
Yeah, definitely. On tour, definitely. I really do want to. I want to do pictures, at least pictures and maybe videos in each city.
Yeah.
Of us because just really memories for me.
Yeah,
but also as well to see where it is that we're going and all that stuff. I definitely want to do something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, everyone has to check you out on tour and then follow you on Twitter and make sure to vote for you too.
Yeah, definitely. We need the votes. Keep them coming.